Pregame.com.
Welcome back to pregame.tv. Sunday NFL action. We've got St. Louis at Dallas. I'm your host, Marco D'Angelo, joined in studio, Ken Thomson, SportsX Radio. Ken, I got to tell you, St. Louis, Dallas, we got two teams coming in here. They're both 1-1. Mm-hmm. I think the public perception, though, of these two teams is totally opposite. The public is looking at this game, looking at St. Louis, and I think they're happier with St. Louis at 1-1 than they are Dallas at 1-1, because Dallas went on the road, got beat by Kansas City. Kansas City's a much better ball club this year than they were last year.
That's a hard place to win at, Arrowhead.
Yeah, it's, to me, I think it's next to the Superdome, and then, of course, Seattle. I think it's the loudest, the second loudest outdoor stadium in the NFL. But you look at Dallas, the game they won, it's tainted because the Giants spewed the ball all over the place 6 times in that game. St. Louis, they come from behind against Arizona. Then they fell way behind to Atlanta, and then they come storming back and made a game out of it. So public perception, I think, is a little higher on the St. Louis Rams here. What do you think about these two teams?
Well, I think St. Louis stole the Arizona game. They were in the Atlanta game up until the 14-0, the deflected pass, because they were going in for a score themselves. Could have made it 14-7. All of a sudden, 21-0. Show a lot of character, never quitting, getting within 7, then got punched back down to 14, got it back to 7, ran out of time.
Yeah, they showed a lot of, resiliency coming back the several times. But I'll tell you what, for Atlanta, their offense was not the same once Steven Jackson went out of the lineup.
That's true, and also Roddy White's still not near 100%.
And this is something that I talked about on Atlanta. Everybody was down on Atlanta this year. I was higher on Atlanta than most people because I thought Steven Jackson was the missing link to this team. I know he's getting a little bit long in the tooth, but this is a guy that can still get you those crunch time yards, and he is amazing out of the backfield. He is a security blanket for Matty Ice. When downfield's covered, you got Steven Jackson coming out of the backfield in the flat. That's as good as it gets. And I thought that he completed that offense. When he went out, you saw a noticeable difference from the Atlanta Falcons.
I agree, but I think Jaquiz Rodgers is one of the best receivers out of the backfield, and I think you'll see that with Atlanta this week. I think you'll see Quiz Rodgers get a lot of screen passes, little Burt Jones to Lydell Mitchell type passes, and open them up, and also take some pressure off Matty Ice. He needs that. He needs to have that safety valve. But you're right, pounding in between the tackles or getting someone outside. Steven Jackson could still turn the corner where Michael Turner was losing that speed to get around the corner.
Yeah, and you want a Steven Jackson when you've got that lead and you're trying to get a 4 or 5 minute drive in the fourth quarter to take some time away, off the clock and keep the other team from getting the ball and trying to make those comebacks that Atlanta was giving up last year, and they almost gave up again last week. But you know what, Ken? This is my game. Let's go ahead and make this one official.
Make it official. I'm interested in this one.
All right, I look at this St. Louis Ram team, and to me, we talked about how Atlanta, suffered when Steven Jackson went out. Well, I think the St. Louis Rams are suffering the entire season without Steven Jackson since he's gone to Atlanta. Bradford doesn't have his security blanket of throwing out of the backfield and getting that reliable receiver and getting those crunch time yards or those hard yards up the middle when you need them. They're forcing Sam Bradford to have to throw the ball too much. When he throws the ball as much as he's done the last 2 weeks, bad things are going to happen. He's thrown it 93 times in 2 games. I know this is a league that's changing and everybody's passing the ball more, but I don't like Sam Bradford being one-dimensional. This team needs more balance. Dallas, this is a team I think's flying under the radar right now. Yeah, they're 1-1, and they've had 2, you could say, probably non-impressive games. Well, the Giants were their Achilles heel. They finally got to beat them. Yeah, it took 6 turnovers, but they got the job done. More importantly, Tony Romo didn't have a blow-up in that game like he has done so many times against the Giant defense. Tony Romo actually playing much better this season so far. Last week, he was 30 of 42 for 281. The week before that, 36 of 49 for 244. I think he's able to move the ball against this St. Louis secondary. St. Louis Louis has made 2 quarterbacks look very good. Now, we know that Matt Ryan's very good for Atlanta, but Carson Palmer, he did nothing in Oakland last year. Now, has he found the fountain of youth in Arizona? I think it was more the St. Louis defense helped that. He had a great game against this St. Louis secondary, and I think you're going to see Tony Romo do the same thing. The only thing that gives me concern in this game, and I'll mention it, is historically, the last year, if you would have bet the dog in every Dallas Cowboy game, you would have went 12-3-1 blindly, just betting the dog in a Cowboy game. This year so far, it's 1-1. And the one loss was the Giants, and they lost 6 turnovers in that game. So really, the Giants probably were the right side in that. That's the only thing that gives me pause here. But coming back home, looking to bounce back against a team that had a close game last week. But here is the kicker and why it seals the deal for me. St. Louis plays on the road for the 2nd Sunday in a row. They return home after this. They return home to a Thursday night game. They're going to be coming back on a short week. And it's not just any Thursday night game. It's the Super Bowl losers from last year, San Francisco. And if you guys remember the 2 meetings last year between St. Louis and San Francisco, this will be a war on Thursday. So I think St. Louis gets caught looking ahead to the Thursday night game against the Niners. Dallas takes care of business at home. I've got Dallas winning this 27-17. That's my free play. We're going to be right back, Ken. You've got a free play. Cleveland at Minnesota. And, guys, we've got some breaking news. Came just into the studio while we were taping today. We'll tell you about that next on the Cleveland-Minnesota video. That's up next, pregame.tv.